So last time we met, which was quite some time ago, actually, we looked at loving kindness for self. So it was, hi Jay, welcome. It was an analytical meditation that we were doing. So today we'll do a little review of that meditation. We will look at about developing loving kindness for others. And then I think we will do the same as we did last time, which was a Chenrezig meditation, if that works with everybody. Okay, because I think we will have time because these two sessions were quite short. Okay, and then before we start, I would like to do some 9-round breathing, just to get ourselves settled. So Millie, hi Millie, there you are. Last week we looked at loving kindness for self. So I don't know if you had a chance to review that at all, but you did. Good on you. Okay. So today we'll be looking a little bit at loving kindness. We'll review that a little bit, that meditation, and we'll look at some loving kindness for others, developing loving kindness for others. And then I want to do another Chenrezig meditation at the end of today. So today is the last day of they call it a day of miracles. And I think one of the reasons, I sort of saw many descriptions about it, but I think one of the reasons what Buddha was trying to do, he wasn't trying to show off. He was trying to inspire people that this is what's possible if you reduce all your negativities and increase your virtues. So basically, at the core of ourselves, we have this pure, clear stuff. And this is who we really are. So once we clear away all the rubbish and all the dirt and all the muck, all that's left behind is this absolute purity. So, and then anything's possible. And it did seem to be that the Buddha really understood the quantum physics, time and space, didn't seem to have much impact on him when he was able to perform all these kinds of different miracles. So it's a bit like, when they took Jesus turning water into wine and feeding masses with a couple of loaves of bread. It's not that different. And it does seem to me, when I was growing up, I thought that was just the most ridiculous story I'd ever heard. But then when you start to see that it is kind of these same kinds of stories are coming out in different, from different religions and different belief systems, it kind of indicates to me that they've transcended what we understand as our normal 4 walls and roof over our head. They somehow have got past the conventional world and they've understood it a little bit. It's almost like they've understood how to walk through walls or something like that. So I had this, I guess I can tell you guys, I had this very interesting experience when I was living at Lamsa Rinpoche's house one time. And Rinpoche would be in his room sitting on his bed. It was a blue room, and we called it the Haruka room. And that was where Rinpoche did most of his retreats and things. And so in the mornings, I would be upstairs trying not to disturb Rinpoche. He would be usually meditating. And then there was this yellow room, which had some low tables with water bowls on it that Rinpoche used to use as a room to write the Prajnaparamita Sutra before he had showed the aspect of having a stroke. So Rinpoche's bathroom was behind that room. So Rinpoche would need to come through out from his Haruka room into the hallway and then around into the Prajnaparamita room and past me to get then into a hallway and then to get into the bathroom. So that's what Rinpoche did. He came past, said good morning, something, something. He would always make some comment. And then he went into the bathroom and I'm there doing the water bowls and Rinpoche didn't come out. And I was like, where did Rinpoche go? And honestly, it's that room isn't big enough for me not to notice a person walking past me. So I don't know if by any chance I happened to be outside while Rinpoche slipped back into the other room, but I got a bit worried. So I went into the bathroom and there was no one there. And I was like, okay, so where did Rinpoche go? Then I went into the next room. Next to that was called the medicine Buddha room, because it had this ginormous medicine Buddha in it, and Rinpoche wasn't in there. So then I went back into the Haruka room, and Rinpoche was sitting on his bed, grinning at me like this, like, and I'm like, oh, you're there. And Rinpoche just kept grinning. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know how Rinpoche got from the bathroom to there without me noticing, because the only other way around is to go crawl through the bathroom window and then crawl around on the roof on the outside and then crawl in through one of Rinpoche's, it just wasn't possible because Rinpoche had already had the stroke at that point. So I was just, to this day, I'm still a little bit confused about how that happened, but it is an example of, when you've reached a certain level, walls are not a problem for you. And I think, it's something that we find hard to really understand. But I think my understanding is that if you really have an understanding of emptiness and dependent arising, anything is possible. So this is, in a way, I guess, how healers work. But I mean, I don't know. I don't understand physics. I don't understand quantum physics. But what I do know is some of these lamas have extraordinary capacities that we can't get our little baby brains around. So all we know is to open the car door and get in it and drive and open the door. And, we're working at a very basic level. But anyway, how did I get onto that? Oh, Buddha's miracles. Okay. All right. Yeah. And Rinpoche had this ability to make things happen. So there was apparently this nun in Taiwan who was very, very wealthy. And apparently Rinpoche was going to visit her, and she had a dream the night before where Kuan Yin came to her and said, you give this monk whatever he needs, whatever he asks for. So, Rinpoche arrived and she was very happy to give him whatever. So I don't know. I hear all these stories. I just don't know. And a lot of them sometimes you think are stories, because when I was doing these Theravada courses, the Vipassana courses, you'd hear all these stories about the Buddha and you'd be like, oh, come on, really? And but then I've had certain experiences with certain lamas and certain kind of meetings that I don't know how did it happen that I met up with this person at this particular time, da 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 da. And then after a while, you start to think, well, I guess, in those days, back in Buddha's time, life was a little bit, they say we're in really degenerate times right now. So I think back in Buddha's time, it wasn't so degenerate. Or maybe it was more in some ways, but somehow maybe the energy around was finer. I don't know. Not so many EMFs, not so many radio waves, not so much pollution of different kinds. So anyway, I guess, so this is the last day of the Day of Miracles. It's supposed to be quite a holy day. The last day of, Losar as well. So anyway, it's very fortunate so I think it's good that it's beautiful that we do this practice today. Then also good to do a little bit of like a Chenrezig meditation or something. Okay. So I would like to find out, how do people do with the meditation on loving self? Like, did that have any kind of impact on you at all? Was it helpful to do? You don't have to speak if you don't want to, but if there's anything anyone would like to share. I was just also quiet, or you're just very shy. I don't know.
I don't know that I really did it.
Oh, you did. But how do you how did you find it actually in the session?
Uh, How do I don't know. I enjoyed the session. It seems like it was a long time ago right now.
It was. So one of the things I think that when people first start this, may I be happy, may I be safe, may I have all the things I need, da da da. It's almost like, really? I can have all that? This is okay? I'm worth all of that? So I think for those of us brought up in the West, sometimes it's really hard to do it for oneself. But I think what we really need to understand is how important it is to do it for oneself, because if you're not all together, there's no way you're going to be able to help anybody else. And the trouble is we think we have to just put ourselves aside and go off and help everybody. But if you're a mess, it's not really, after a while, you're going to fall apart. So that, and I think this is often the role of women in society is to hold the family, looking after the kids, doing all the cooking, all the shopping, going out. It's a traditional role. And in many cultures still stays that role. And a lot of women just don't even think that, and sometimes men as well, they don't even think that they're worthy of something more than that. And there's some cultures where the female children don't even go to school past the age of 12. So, and when you go to places like Nepal, you're like, what do you mean you're not going to school? It's like, no, they just don't get to go to school. They would put the money in the boy children for them to go to school, because what they understand is that eventually the girl children will get married and have babies, and that's their job. So I think particularly it's very, very important for women, and then also for the men who are considered to be, supposed to be the providers. Again, it's a thing of putting all their time and effort into supporting the family, and these roles are so kind of rigid. I don't know with you guys out there if it's still something that you experience, but then it's like, oh, can I do something for myself? Is it okay for me to want to feel loved and happy and safe? I don't know. So I don't know, what do you think about that? And also too, we've got people here of many different ages, and different cultures. So I don't know if this is still how it's landing, or if it's still something that's even relevant today. It was definitely relevant when I was growing up in the 60s. Anybody? Nothing. You guys are so quiet. Okay. All right, let's get started. So what I want to do today is we'll start with our, we'll just get settled, and then we will do a little bit of 9-round breathing. And then I'd like to go straight into, because we can't really remember what it was we did last time, we will do the loving kindness for self meditation first. So then you guys can give me some feedback and let me understand whether any of what I was saying made any sense at all. Okay. Jay, I really like your mandala. It's beautiful. Okay. All right. So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Oh, and I had to let you know, Bay's not here today. For those of you who know her, she's also a yoga teacher, as well as an awesome SPC. So she's leading a workshop this afternoon. So have your feet, if you are sitting at your desk, have your feet about hips width apart, with your shoulders aligned with your hips. And then your ears aligned with your shoulders. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, and stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine. And bring your attention to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, back of the head. Relax the occipital bone, there's a lot of tension around there. Relax the back of the neck. Relax your ears and your inner ear and the back of the tongue. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest, and the belly, and all of your limbs, and even your hands and feet and fingers and toes. So you can have your hands, you don't have to have them sitting in the regular meditation posture. You can just have them resting however is most comfortable for you in this particular session. And take a nice deep breath. So notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. You may feel as the breath moves into the nostrils, you might feel the sensation of the cool air coming over the skin of the edge of the nostrils and then brushing over those little hairs on the inside of the nostrils, and then slightly warmer as you exhale. So just notice that for a moment or two. And then depending on the shape of your nose, depending on how you've been trained, if you have been trained previously in different meditation techniques, you will notice the breath maybe at the base of the nostrils or at the tip of the nose, the middle. So just notice where you're feeling the air as you inhale through the nostrils. And keep the mouth closed while you do that. Now, some of you might be noticing the rising and the falling of the chest or the belly. So just everybody now as well, as you are inhaling, now focus your mind on the rising and the falling of the chest. But also remember your lungs are like balloons. They don't just blow up at the front. So as you're inhaling, there's an expansion of the lungs around the ribs at the side and your back body. So see if you can, without hoisting your shoulders up around your ears, see if you can expand your chest cavity to the front, to the side, to the back as you inhale. So just imagine as your lungs are filling with air, they're expanding equally in all directions. Of course, this is aided by the rising and the falling of the diaphragm. And now you can do the same thing with the belly. So normally we just feel the front belly, right? But as you're inhaling, you might notice the sensation in the lower back as well, on the side. If you have a belt on, you might feel pressure as soon as you inhale. And so while we're here, just imagine you can inhale for a count of 4, pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale for a count of 4 to 6, and see how you go. We'll do this just for a little bit. Now just be aware if you can notice any sounds in your environment. So many of you are living with other people. You probably have pets. There may be people outside your home that you can hear, or apartment. You just notice what sounds are there, and then maybe notice the point at which your mind likes to take off and have a look and see what's going on. So allow the mind to come back to base, come back to the breath, trying not to follow all of those distractions we just move out so habitually. Now, of course, if there's an emergency, it's a different scenario, but sometimes when we're meditating, any sparkly object other than what we're doing is a good sparkly object. So try and remain focused. And then notice the thoughts as they're arising in the mind. What's arising in the mind? So as we did in a few sessions earlier, we could categorize our thoughts to start with as thinking. So let's just think about that for a moment. Oh, look, I'm thinking. So don't think anything else about the thoughts other than you're actually just thinking. So trying not to follow those thoughts, trying not to judge what you're thinking. And now, as we've done earlier in the course, we can categorize the thoughts even further to things like remembering, planning, making up stories and believing in them. That's like future tripping. Ruminating. So as the thoughts arise, try and label them, categorize them. And then as you're doing this, in a way, you're being forced to put some space in between the thoughts. You're forced to take a step back and actually, from the outside, look at what's going on. So you're slightly disengaged from, or I'd say not so involved in what's going on in the mind. So recently, Lama Yangtze Rinpoche was at Seichen Ling here in San Francisco. And one of the things he was talking about, the mind is almost like a scammer. Scams us into believing things that aren't necessarily true, and then we go along with it, and then problems happen. But if we were to maintain a certain level of equanimity, we might be a little bit less reactive. So we can now imagine we're sitting on the bank of a river. We're just sitting there. Maybe there's birds and trees. It's quiet, you're out in the countryside. And this river's just flowing on by. So what does your river look like today? Is it fast flowing? Is it flowing slowly? Is it deep, shallow? Is it clear? Is it muddy? Is it just quiet? Or is it just completely still with an undercurrent? And then just know that while you're sitting on that bank, you're free from the river. Because you know that river is going to change every day. So let's bring to mind some people of our life. We'll start with our loved ones. There are some people in our life we just have these really deep, profound relationships with. They're karmic, they're strong, they're powerful, and we love these people deeply. And then there's those people in our life we don't like so much. And then there's a bunch of strangers. And particularly those of you who spend a lot of time, here in California, we do need to spend a fair amount of time on the highways, going up and down here and there. There's always many, many strangers on those highways in those cars. They all have their own lives, their own loves, their own sadness, their own trials and tribulations. But, they're fleeting in our life by like about half a second, millisecond, they fly past in their car. And, we really couldn't care less. The main thing we're concerned about is staying in our own lane and not being hit or causing an accident ourselves. We want to stay safe. We're not thinking about the people in the car, which means we don't particularly care. But these people, these friends, these enemies, these strangers, they can and they do and they will change place. Maybe not this lifetime. For some of you, you may have had that experience of, maybe you've lost a loved one. And then all of a sudden, they're not there anymore. They're gone. They're still in your heart. But maybe they've taken a different life now. Maybe if you met them in the street, you wouldn't know them. Maybe they were a baby. I often think of that with my father loved sailing. And a number of years ago, I was down at Laguna Beach running a meditation course for a friend. And she took me to this place near Newport Beach where all these people it was like a gated community. And all these people had sort of access to the water and their boats. And I'm like, oh my goodness, my father would have just loved this, have a boat right up to his house. And then I thought, well, he would be about, I don't know, 15 now. So if I was walking down the street, would I recognize him? Would he recognize me? Would he be sailing? So I now know, however, my father has reincarnated. I have no idea where he is or who he is or where. But if you bring it back to this earth realm that we're on right now, your strangers can become your best friend. The enemy could also become a best friend. Somehow the mind changes, the karma changes. So this is due to impermanence. Nothing stays the same. And right now we're seeing change. Here in California, the rain stopped a day or two ago. The sun is out. The birds have come back. The blossoms are coming. So everything's shifting again. And they're all equal, these people, in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So we'll do this session 5, which is the final session of this series, for the benefit of all these people of our life and by extension, all sentient beings. And for any of you who have any people in your life you want to motivate this session for, dedicate this session for, you can just think of that person now, because it's the merit that we create from doing a practice like this on a day where most people are wanting to run around outside and do stuff, whether it be skiing or walking or whatever. hanging out with friends, watching movies, but you've decided to come here. So rejoice in that too. That's fantastic. So now we'll move into our 9-round breathing. So you can incorporate, if you wish, that 4-count inhale, 6-count exhale. And if you wish, you can do 4-count inhale, 4-count exhale. So you start by, again, and I'm not mirroring you, so I'll be looking like I'm opposite. You can block your left nostril with your right index finger and breathe in through the right nostril, blissful, radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath and exhale through your left nostril all your unhealthy attachment, desire, energy, grasping, neediness, all of this, anxieties, not feeling enough. Breathe that out all as thick, black, yucky smoke. And that disappears into space. And we do that 3 times. And then you can block your right nostril with the left index finger. Breathe in through the left nostril, blissful, radiant white light. And pause at the top of the breath, just very briefly. Don't grip or grasp, just it's a very gentle pausing, like the top of a swing. And then breathe out through your right nostril. Thick, black, yucky smoke is anger and bitterness and grudges and disappointments and this kind of this rage, viciousness, all of this, it's just anger, and it's very, very harmful for ourselves and others. So you breathe that out as thick, black, yucky smoke. It disappears into space. You don't breathe it back in. It doesn't pollute anyone. You do that 3 times. And then you breathe in blissful, radiant white light through both nostrils, pausing at the top of the breath. And then exhale all your ignorance energy as thick, black, yucky smoke. So this is ignorance of not understanding the way things truly exist. So here they're talking about emptiness, cause and effect, dependent arising, cause and effect is karma, and then not understanding karma. Karma on its very basic level seems quite obvious. It's a natural law. You do this, this is going to happen. But there are many, many layers to it. So it's not as simple as it sounds. But anyway, you get the idea. So, and you do that 3 times. So we will do 3 sets of 3, 3, 3. And I'll let you do it in your own time. And then I'll probably get a good idea when everyone's finished. So I'll keep an eye on you. When you're finished, just bring your mind back to the breath and just feel. And just notice, where are you at now in comparison to where you were when we first got online, just over half an hour ago? What's changed? Okay, so just relax. And if anyone has anything they want to ask or share, please just unmute yourself. You guys are so quiet. Anyone have anything they want to say? No? So Millie and John, you both look like you're about to say something. You're very welcome to unmute yourselves and say it if you want. No?
I'm more,
Huh?
I'm more relaxed.
Oh, you're feeling more relaxed. Good. Yeah. Me too, actually. I came down off the freeway and then threw down some lunch and then jumped online. So definitely feeling relaxed. Okay. So I think, oh, John, you going to say something?
I was going to say it's the same with Millie. Millie and I, we kind of just got back and got ready.
Yeah. Did you have something to eat?
Don't usually eat lunch.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Okay. So let's go back. I'd like to do this. I'll just review a little bit. We'll look a little bit at mindfulness and nurturing positive, wholesome qualities. So what we're trying to do here is nurture the goodness within ourselves, which is there, but we tend to just constantly focus on all the negativities, constantly focus on all the things that we're not doing quite right, or that we're not doing perfectly, or that somehow we've, and I think we need to sort of look a little bit more at all the positivity that we have within ourselves and just sort of make it's a little bit unbalanced. I mean, it's not a bad thing because you don't want to be completely boastful, narcissistic kind of a person. But even those people are actually even narcissism, it's just an expression of extreme low self-esteem. So what we're trying to do is build ourselves up a little bit and try and get in touch with all those extraordinary qualities within ourselves. So like I was saying last time, you write a list of all the good qualities about you, whether it's your beautiful hair or whether it's your generosity, your kindness. Maybe you're really good at cooking. Maybe you're excellent at building community and, inviting all the rellies over for lunch or something like that. Maybe you're brilliant at writing. That's the way you express yourself. That's the way you communicate. So we all have something that people love about us, and not everyone's going to love us. We all have to just remember that because we have karma with different people. So the other thing I would suggest you do, if you haven't done already, is put yourselves on gallery so I'm not the only face you're seeing, because then you get a sense of, like, you don't want to look at me for 2 hours, really. Then you get a sense of who else is in the room with us, that this is a kind of a group practice, so we're doing it together. So if you put yourselves on gallery, then you can see everybody else a little bit more clearly. Okay, and it's just a suggestion. If you want to look at me for 2 hours, you can, but maybe focus on her. Okay. So, last week we started looking at analytical meditation. So in analytical meditation, we place our mindful attention on a chosen object or topic, such as loving kindness for our loved ones, and examine it in an attempt to verify its validity or to invoke and nurture an appropriate response. So, for example, we would respond to those people we love and care about with the heartfelt quality of loving kindness, and then try and familiarize our mind with that quality of love through mindfulness. So it's almost like you get, bring an object to mind, like the person you love, and then try and generalize that feeling as, okay, this is what loving kindness is, and expand it. And then expand it out so that you have that towards other people in your life, and then towards the ones you don't like, and then towards the strangers and the spiders. So it's almost like hard to imagine that we could do that. So in general, there are different ways to approach this type of analysis that made use of our abilities of functional thinking. We did that, remembering, imagining, reasoning. And we can rely on an outline detailing the points to reflect on, giving attention to each point and evaluating it in the light of our own experiences, scriptural citations, or reasoning. And we can follow a sequence of steps in a reasoning process and determine for ourselves whether we are convinced by the logical conclusion. So this is how they go about analytical meditation. We can also repeat a guiding phrase or question to ourselves and examine the thoughts, memories, and feelings stirred up by the inquiring process to come to our own understanding of the topic. So with mindfulness, we hold our attention on this topic of loving kindness for others. And keep returning to it when distracted. So once again, introspection is helpful in monitoring the process and alerting us when we are no longer on the topic. So when we've disconnected, so then we need to kind of land again. So introspection is helpful in monitoring the process and alerting us. When our mind recollects a past memory of kindness and love from our loved ones, or identifies an aspect of their life that we admire or cherish, we can respond by bringing forth that sort of loving intention that sincerely wishes them to be happy and to be with all the causes of their happiness. And the repetition of phrases of loving kindness helps us to strengthen these loving thoughts and provides a basis for our mindfulness to act on, stabilizing and nurturing loving kindness. So this way of presenting mindfulness in this context of analytical meditation, that it involves thinking, reflecting, and reasoning, is not what is commonly presented in these days when in mindfulness training. Nonetheless, it's a valid way of using our ability to be mindful in conjunction with clear, functional thinking, and to cultivate and nurture better understanding and wholesome qualities within us. So it's very important, it's helpful to broaden our concept of this scope of mindfulness. So I do want to go back. There'll be a meditation on loving kindness for others. And I want to go back and do the one that we did before, which is loving kindness for self first. So make yourselves comfortable again. And we'll do, I think, because I want to review this, because some of you, we don't even remember. And also Millie, you get an opportunity to do it with the group. So we're going to extend loving kindness, first of all, towards ourselves by way of the support of a few simple phrases. So, I mean, later on down the track, if you wish, you can experiment with different words and change them as we go along. By repeating slowly these phrases, we can start focusing our attention in the direction of genuine care and concern towards ourselves, and then give ourselves time for our heart to respond with the appropriate feelings when it's ready. So our mindful awareness encompasses both ourselves, as the object of loving kindness, and the inner quality of loving kindness itself, and just allow that inequality to suffuse your mind and heart. And so in order to facilitate this sort of loving kindness, genuine loving kindness towards ourselves, we, in between the repetition phrases of loving kindness, we'll pause to reflect on the basis of having ourselves as the recipient of our own kindness and loving concern. And we can see, as I mentioned earlier, at the beginning, we're just like everyone else in that all of us wants to be happy and not to suffer. So reflect on the validity of this in relation to yourself. Deep down, no one wants to be suffering. Everyone wants to be happy. And there's other reasons to strengthen this quality of loving kindness towards ourselves. For some of us, as I just mentioned, we can look for the goodness within us. For others, we could sense our yearning for love or remembering past experiences of happiness and wishing that for ourselves today. And for some of us, no reason is needed at all for extending love and kindness. So let's just be in a nice, just relax. Rest your hands wherever they're comfortable. Make sure your shoulders are aligned with your hips. So now just return your attention to your own body, to be in touch with simple sensations there in order to settle ourselves back into meditation. So notice areas of softness and ease and relaxation. And can we welcome these feelings and allow ourselves to enjoy them while they're there? So just check in with the sensations at your face. Are you tensing up any of the facial muscles? Just relax the jaw, the temples. Can you allow this softening and relaxation to spread on its own to the rest of your body, helping yourself to settle into meditation further? So moving into this idea of loving kindness towards ourselves, we can choose a few simple phrases that best express our understanding of what it means to love, to care, and to show concern. And we start with some of these stock phrases, and you can change them as you go along if you wish. May I live in safety. So this is wishing oneself to feel safe and secure in life, to have security, to have financial security, to have emotional security, physical security, to live in a place that is free from danger. May I be happy. That's wishing oneself to feel joy and cheerfulness and happiness in the mind and heart. May I be healthy. Wishing oneself to enjoy physical health and well-being. May I live with ease. Wishing one's daily life and work to flow easily. So no obstacles. May I live in safety. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. So you can repeat these phrases slowly and mindfully at your own pace and stay connected to the intentions behind the words and extend loving kindness towards yourself. May I live in safety. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. So coming back to these phrases when we get distracted, we don't worry if you're not feeling particularly loving towards yourself. You can allow your heart to open and respond in its own time. So for now, we can just rely on the words to guide our heart towards loving kindness. May I live in safety. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. So in between the repetitions, you can reflect on the basis that support or promote loving kindness towards yourself. And deep down, all of us want to be happy and not suffer. Just for a moment, pause and think about this statement. Is it true for you? And how does the wish to be happy manifest in your life? So this is where a lot of us can get a bit off track. Because the things that we think make us happy might not necessarily make us happy in the long run. And we live in a world or an environment, particularly here in the United States, where marketing and advertising is key. So we're constantly bombarded with all kinds of ideas about how this product or that product can make our lives a lot easier. So after a while, we don't even know really what makes us happy, because we're being told, almost brainwashed into thinking a bigger house will make us happy, or moving to another location will make us happy. But actually what we don't understand, or what we forget, is we're going to take all of our problems and all of our mind and all of our body with us. So nothing really changes. So it's not about what's going on in the outside. So how does this wish to be happy manifest in your life right now? Does it serve you? Like some people are addicted to sugar and they eat a lot of it because they think it's what makes them happy. but actually can make them really sick. And then it'll make them unhappy. So when you feel ready, you can come back to the phrases and continue to offer loving kindness to yourself. May I live in safety. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. So then you can also reflect on some other reasons that activate loving kindness for yourself. So here is the point at which we would start to look for our good qualities. And maybe list a few in your mind. Maybe you have a ton more power than you actually realize you do. Maybe you impact the world more than you actually realize. Because maybe inside you feel about 7 years old, but actually you're doing extraordinarily well out there in terms of others. Maybe you can remember past experiences of pure joy and happiness and wish that to continue. Maybe you can feel a yearning for love within. May I live in safety. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. Okay, everyone, you can relax if you want to have a sip of water. How was that for people? Is there anything you'd like to share or to say? Did Kitu? Hi.
Hi. So when I'm saying all these words to me, they're just words. It doesn't, I really don't connect with them. It doesn't make any difference. So how to make it practical.
Right. So you're having a hard time relating that to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it just they just seem like words without any meaning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you say, may I live in safety, may I be happy, may I live with ease.
So I feel like all of that is already true. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
doesn't I don't know how to change my mindset to kind of work on that.
So the thing is, if you're already experiencing that in your life, happiness, health, safety, ease, it's almost a way to open up your heart for loving kindness towards yourself. So it's like you're deserving of all of those things. And do you have children?
Yeah, one
Yeah, so you
and a dog.
a daughter and a right. So you want all of those things, and you will ensure that all of those things are there for your child and for your dog.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, if someone tries to make it so your dog's not happy, or that your dog is not healthy, or that your dog or your daughter is not living in safety, you would definitely do something about it because you love them. And you'd want to offer that to them. You also equally, it's like that force of that love that you have for them. It's almost like you have to give that to yourself as well. And maybe you do. I don't know.
So
But
maybe the way to interpret it is, sometimes I feel guilty for things I've done in the past life, little things, big things, or just feel like I haven't done enough, or things that bother me. So maybe just saying it's okay, but just saying it doesn't make it real for me. So
I
how do
see.
I,
So I think the crux of it is what you were just saying, is you have these feelings of not being enough, or not having not done enough, or I could have done more. And I think that you are definitely not the only person on the planet that feels that, And I remember when my father passed away, one of his friends, and we had a big party at his house. And one of my dad's friends came up to me and said, "Did you feel you did enough?" I thought it was a really interesting question. And I could have gone two ways. I could have gone down the track of, oh God, I could have done more, blah, blah, blah. But actually, no, I felt like I had done enough. And I reflect on that all the time. I mean, he died in 2001. So I reflect on that frequently still.
Mhm.
But I kind of feel that at some point, if we are to grow and move forward, we have to allow ourselves a little bit of freedom from not feeling enough and not having not done enough. And so this practice that we do 5 nights a week through Thupten Noble Ling, the Vajrasattva practice, addresses a lot of what you're talking about. So guilt is a fairly unhelpful emotion. It's better to have regret. Regret is more about, and I'm sure this is probably what you're experiencing, but guilt is almost anger at oneself. And it's really not something that we're able to process well. It's not very functional. But regret, which is the first of the 4 opponent powers in the context of the Vajrasattva practice, regret enables us to kind of look at what maybe we've done, things that maybe, wasn't a good idea. Maybe things that we've said weren't such a good idea. And then we have this sort of sense of, we'll feel sorry. And then on what comes on top of regret is, well, the reason I'm regretting is because if I've done something to harm somebody, I'll probably suffer sometime down the track if you have a belief in karma and reincarnation. And so in order, Lamsa Rinpoche would say that regret itself, this kind of feeling sorry, really regretting having done something that wasn't really helpful or in the context of your vows or whatever, he said that goes a long way to purifying that particular action. I don't think guilt is definitely not the same as regret, and it's not helpful. It's not helpful in quite the same way. Guilt will have you thinking about something, but regret has the implication of, hey, I did this thing. I want to change. Perhaps I can maybe make amends somewhere down the track. That's one thing. I have regret. I'm going to make amends, but also I'm going to try not to do that again. So it's almost like a wake-up call. It's like a really adult way of thinking. It's like taking responsibility for the things that we've done. Once you take responsibility for it and stop beating yourself up about it, it takes on a whole new life of its own. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you an example. One time we have this shop down the road called Good Earth. I don't know if any of you know about Good Earth, but it's like this coolest like grocery store ever. And I'm just so happy it's like 5 minutes from me, 20-minute walk. So they are equal opportunity employers. So many of their people that work at the checkout are either severely autistic, slightly autistic, or somewhere on the spectrum. And they're an interesting bunch of folks. So there's one guy there, his name's Eric. He is absolutely brilliant. He knows the code to every single item in the store. He's impressive, but he's a little bit spectrumy. So anyway, I turned up at the checkout with my headphones on. I was listening to something. I think I was listening to Pink. So I'm like, like rocking up to the, and then he asked me a question. I didn't understand it because I had my headphones on, which already was rude. And then I spoke to him, but I had my face mask on because we were still coming out of the pandemic, and he couldn't understand what I was saying. So between the two of us, we were miscommunicating quite severely. Now, I could have just taken my face mask off and my headphones out, but I didn't. And he got so frustrated, he walked away because he had got so confused and frustrated, he couldn't actually think straight. So one of the other cashiers had to come and take over for him and check me out because he was completely freaked out. So I felt so bad that I thought to myself, I'm going to feel really embarrassed every time I come, and every time I come to check out my things, I'm going to want to avoid this guy because I upset him so much, and that it feels weird to me because he doesn't really like me now and he feels freaked out. So I was like, I don't know what to do here. So then I remembered this story of Lamsa Rinpoche, one of his students in Melbourne. I don't know, you guys may have heard this story, but his next door neighbor, well, he had a BMW, and his next door neighbor kept keying his car, and he would get it fixed. He'd come out the next day and find it keyed again. And finally, all his Dharma friends, they came together and they said, what are we going to do? And someone said, well, I know what you can do. You can get him something that he really likes and give it to him. And so anyway, they were like, oh, come on. So they discovered he liked playing golf. So they went and purchased him this beautiful, like high quality golf ball and packaged it in this nice little box and wrapped it up beautifully and gave it to him. So they took it next door and gave it to this man, kind of grumpy old guy. And then about half an hour later, he turns up at the door and he's going, oh, this is the most beautiful gift anyone has ever given me. Everything is forgiven. So of course, this guy had done absolutely nothing wrong, and he just let it go. But just that that way of dealing with it kind of cut through all those particular problems. So what I did was, I remember that story, and so I went and bought him a coffee. Like, they have really nice cafe latte there. So I purchased a cafe latte, and I tried to find the guy. He wasn't there. And then, so he's on break, so someone gave him the latte, and the next time I saw him, he's beaming, now he's my best friend. So it was that process of guilt would not have enabled me to go and get him a coffee and just let it go and change our relationship. But regret made me realize I have a responsibility here. This is partly my responsibility. I need to deal with it, and it's up to me to make amends, because this guy can't. I recognized he's spectrumy. He doesn't have the capacity. But now, I mean, just that one cup of coffee that cost me maybe $3 or $4, I have a buddy down there now, I mean, and a buddy who's got a brilliant mind. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. This is what regret can do for you. And anyway, I highly recommend, if you've got some issues around all that, come to our practice at 8 o'clock on weeknights. I think you'll love it. You'll get some great benefit from it. It's through Tupton Noble Ling's Center down in New Mexico. I think we're all the same. It's all FPMT. So, but anyway, and I think this Vajrasattva practice is absolutely beautiful. It's more like a healing practice than anything else. It's an extraordinary practice. And some of the people that I don't understand why, but they've been doing it for now. The same sadhana we've been doing now 5 nights a week for over 3 years. So you're not missing out on anything. Everyone's at different levels of the practice, but we're doing the same thing every night, pretty much. So very welcome to come along, and I hope that's been helpful. But I think you're right. I think you're not the only person in the world this happens to. It's really hard to accept, how can I love myself? Because I've got all this junk inside. Well, we need to purify it. That we do. Oh, there you go. Jay just put up the link. She comes.
Oh, thanks.
And so does Kimberly. Kimberly comes as well. Okay. All right, let's get moving. And this link works every night, even though it has different dates on it. So now you'll see why it's important to think about loving kindness for others. Because if you're not feeling completely whole inside, you don't have a whole lot to give. It's almost like someone who's damaged isn't going to be able to make someone else who's damaged feel better. So I think we need to show up being wholesome for ourselves first, and then we can be of great support to others. I mean, we're probably going to be of some support to others, but we're not going to be, if we're not wholly healthy beings, we're not going to be able to help others as effectively as if we were completely, we're never going to be completely healthy. But anyway, we do our best. That's all I'm saying. Does anyone have anything else you want to say before? I'm taking up most of the space here, but you guys can talk if you want to.
Well, I wanted to say thank you, because that struck home with me.
What particularly?
The guilt and the regret.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I feel regret, I think, but it starts out as guilt. I sort of feel some guilt, and then I kind of realize that this is my life again, and this is what's going on, and so I'm wondering if I'm associating it with rumination.
Guilt.
In other words, if you put rumination on the guilt side, what is there on the regret side for rumination? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Rumination is kind of the out of control negative mind, really, and going over and over and over things that are not really It's like a mouse spinning on a wheel. You're not getting anywhere. But what you talked about there in the middle of that was a really beautiful recognition of acceptance, of just accepting where you're at right now. And this is what's happening right now, which is, I think, what your words were. So you're starting from the middle there in a fairly equanimous place. I don't think rumination or guilt are equanimous. They create noise in the mind. And then regret is, even the word feels a little bit more grounding to me. It's like, oh, okay, I did this thing. What can I do about it? If I can't do anything about it, just let that go. But if I can do so, and also I can't do anything about it for that particular person or situation. It's gone now, but there's wisdom in learning from that situation, and regret implies that you're going to have a little bit of a sense of not wanting to do that again.
I guess I feel like from listening with you that the guilt is more of a negative thing. The regret is maybe more of a healthy thing.
Yeah.
That you know, we're all gonna do things that we're not perfect. So if rather than looking at regret as negative, thinking about it as healthy and maybe productive, because in your story, your regret was productive. You bought a gift and you changed a relationship. So I'm feeling like I used to have a lot of problems with rumination, less so now, but I'm trying to figure out what's on the other side for rumination that's more healthy rather than maybe it's the same. Maybe rumination is guilt out of control.
I think so. A rumination can be anything out of control. Rumination can be anxiety out of control. Rumination can be anger out of control. Rumination can be disappointment out of control. It's not always rumination about yourself. You can ruminate about how so-and-so treated you in the store the other day. You know, I could have gone into rumination about how that guy reacted to me. It's like, oh my God, why are you even working here if you can't handle customers? You know, I could have gone down that road, but I didn't, because I know they're equal opportunity employer, and you never know who's going to be at the cashier desk. And it's an opportunity for everyone to meet these extraordinarily, phenomenally gifted people there checking us out. There's another one that can't even look. He can't look at you. He's like this, but he knows what's going on. I swear his mind is brilliant, but unfortunately he can't really function, but he's there and everyone loves him. He's got a beautiful heart. So anyway, the world is made up of all kinds, I think. But rumination, I suppose if you wanted to see a flip side of rumination, it would be perhaps more about mindfulness, of remembering perhaps something that you may have done so you don't do it again. Remembering, oh, last time I came down that street, there was that big hole there and I drove the car through it and burst a tire. So next time I drive down that street, I'm going to go around that hole so I don't smash the tire. So I think rumination could be, if you wanted to flip it to a more positive thing, it's not even a positive kind of a word to me. It just means out of control mind to me. As a therapist, anyway, from a therapist point of view, rumination is not a great thing to be doing, because you have no space in between your thoughts. It's just going wild. But it sounds like you've done a lot of work in that area. So we're always a work in process, I have to say. Okay. You know, as usual, we're running out of time, so I may not get to the Chen Reizig meditation, but I do want to do loving kindness for others. Are you all ready for that? And does anyone have anything else they would like to say? But I would encourage you, if you wanted to do more on this regret business, come to the purification. You know, actually, Yangtze, I've always thought of it as a healing meditation, actually. Yangtze Rinpoche, when he was here, kind of referred to it as that. It's, you know, it's purification is definitely healing. And it's kind of beautiful practice. Anyway, let's get going. We're going to do loving kindness for others. So I'm going to have just a little drink of water here. So we're going to extend loving kindness towards others, and we're using the support of a few simple phrases like we just did for ourselves. So bring to mind these people in your life that you have these profound relationships with. And for each of them, so bring them so you can see them clearly. They're like in front of you or sitting by your side. And take the time to open your heart and express your love and appreciation to them. And first by slowly and mindfully repeating the words and phrases of loving kindness, and then later, when our heart is ready to respond, with warm feelings of genuine loving kindness. So this is like Gitu, this is what you were talking about, and this is how we would do it for ourselves. You know, right now the words aren't meaning terribly much to you, but with some level of intention and also some level of belief that you are actually worthy of that, then eventually, you know, little by little, you'll start to be able to take that on. Our mindful and awareness encompasses both the people as the objects of our loving kindness and the quality of loving kindness itself, as it can suffuse your mind and your heart. So to facilitate the arising of genuine loving kindness in between our repetition of the phrases of loving kindness, we pause to reflect on the basis for extending loving kindness and concern towards your loved ones. And you can see that they're just like us and everyone else, in that all of us want to be happy and not suffer. And we can also recollect all their good qualities, the kindness, the love they've shown us, or our thoughts and feelings about them. And for some of us, there's no reason needed for extending love and kindness to your loved ones. So again, just settle yourself into a nice, comfortable position and getting in touch with the simple sensations of the body, noticing some softness in your face, in your hands. And perhaps there's an area of tightness in the body, so just notice that it's there, and if you need to move to make yourself comfortable, please do so. And allow the softening that might be happening in your head and face to spread to the other parts of your body. So we'll use these simple phrases that we used earlier. And you can choose other ones later, but this, it kind of is a really good way to express how, you know, what it means to love and to care and to show concern. So may you live in safety. So think of this as your your loved one is with you, and you say, may you live in safety. So you want them to be safe and have security in life. And just notice the difference between the feeling of love you have for your loved one when you say that phrase versus towards yourself. Now, it should be the same, but I can guarantee it's not going to be. So somewhere down the track, we need to start thinking about making this phrase equal in potency for ourselves as we do for others. May you be happy. So wishing others to feel joy and cheerfulness and happiness in the mind and heart. May you be happy. May you be healthy. So wishing others to enjoy physical health and well-being. May you live with ease. So wishing your loved one's life to flow easily without obstacles. So bring to mind, maybe there's more than one important person in your life, and allow a visual image of the person to appear before you. And just reflect on and examine on what we know about this person and his or her experiences, past and present, their hopes, their fears. You know, they might have depression or anxiety. They may be struggling with something. And just you can actively reflect on the basis for extending kindness and loving concern towards them. And bring to mind their own good qualities, their kindness and their love for us, or their natural desire to be happy. Of course, that's universal for everyone. And then after you've thought about that, follow it with these phrases, repeating them slowly and mindfully to express our love and appreciation for them. May you live in safety. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. So when you notice your mind started to wander off, don't worry if you're not feeling particularly loving, but I bet for this one you are. You can allow your heart plenty of time to respond in its own way. And while you're waiting for your heart, you can just keep saying the words. Eventually it will land. Excuse me, but we might have many years of negative self-talk to undo. And that's going to take time, these kind of habits that we have, this kind of habit energy of beating ourselves up and criticizing others, even the ones we love. So the words can guide our heart towards loving kindness. So when on occasions the nice warm feelings of love and kindness arise, we can entwine them among the phrases and also offer them back to ourselves. May you live in safety. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. And feel free to switch to other loved ones at your own pace. And for each of them, you can reflect, on all their wonderful qualities, and then rely on the phrases to extend loving kindness. May you live in safety. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. So we'll just do this for a few more minutes. Bring other people to mind. And don't forget to allow a little bit of that loving kindness towards yourself. See if you can extend that same level of love and wishing someone to be happy back towards yourself. Again, if your mind's wandered, may you live in safety. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. And just relax. And how's everyone doing? How was that? Did you find it easier to extend loving kindness towards your loved ones than towards yourself? Yeah. It's just going to take time. Oh, we lost someone. I think this is about the same time he left last time as well. So what I would like to do now, if anyone doesn't have anything they want to share, anything? No? Millie, did you want to say something? You're right in the middle of my screen now, so I'm looking right at you. Yeah, nothing. Okay. Mina, where's Mina? Oh, there's Mina. Of course. Mina, yeah, of course. We have people who are dropping in. So, you know, you might find you're dropping in regularly. You know, even if you drop in twice a week, you'll find benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're more than welcome. Yeah. Please, you'll find it really helpful, I think. Yeah. So let's just do, if anyone doesn't have anything else that they want to just share, I'll make the Chenrezig meditation very condensed, and we'll do some chanting. There is a little bit left about mindfulness in daily life, but I think what I would like to do is, I think you've all captured enough of this course. You can actually go back and listen to the recordings if you need to go back, and you know, practice some of the exercises if you wish. But I think it's always really helpful just to kind of do a bit of a review, and particularly if you've taken any notes or whatever. I think Mina's been taking notes. I can see. You've been taking notes over there. And you'll find after a while, you know, when you do courses like this, when you do your own meditation, things will just pop into your head. You will remember it, so you don't have to put a huge amount of energy into it if you don't want to. But you know, if the only thing that you've seen throughout this whole course is that, oh, I have a lot of negative self-talk going on, then that's enough. That's plenty for you to work on for months and months and months. So we can, once we start diving into our minds, it's a bit of a neighborhood that perhaps we don't want to go to alone. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, let me find you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here's a nice image of Chenrezig. Okay. So here's our Chenrezig. He's on our altar, this one. And I'm just going to get... So Urs has done this a few times, this meditation. But Urs, I'm going to make it a bit shorter today. But it does relate to what we've been doing. So now, just to settle back quickly into your... I'm sorry, don't do anything quickly here in a meditation. Relax with ease into your meditation posture. And imagine that all of space is filled with beings. They're sitting around you, they're extending beyond the horizon. And if that's a little bit crowded for you in your mind, you can think of as many sentient beings as you can. So I have outside our back door here, there is a tree that is somehow all of a sudden full of birds. We have squirrels, blue jays, And of course, all the spiders and things, but it's like a little bit like Disney World in the mornings outside the back, as we have bird feeders and I feed the squirrels as well. So there's a lot going on in our backyard. And then there's all these we're in a fairly high density neighborhood, so there's lots of neighbors. So however it is for you, try and imagine as many as you can. And your parents and other family members are beside you, put them next to you, and your friends behind as a support. And then the people you don't get along with so much in front of you, and then everybody else all around. As Venerable Rabina would say, eyeball to eyeball. So think about the suffering of these people and beings, and first of all, think of the suffering of your parents and your loved ones, the people you're close to. So of course we find that, their physical and psychological problems, unbearable. We don't want them to suffer. And feel how wonderful it would be if they were free and could enjoy peace and bliss of enlightenment. And then think of the people that you don't like, or the ones who've hurt you, and imagine their physical pain, discomfort, feelings of loneliness, insecurity, fear, dissatisfaction. And just like you, they don't want to be suffering. But maybe if they've hurt you, they've probably hurt others, and so maybe they don't have many friends. Maybe they have difficult relationships all round. So maybe try and open your heart to these people that normally you try and push away, that we have aversion for. And then maybe think about the other human beings and animals. Whoever has an uncontrolled mind is going to be suffering. I think one time when it first started raining down at this wonderful store that I love, Good Earth, there was a woman lying on the bench. She was homeless, and she was just screaming and crying. It was pouring with rain. And she was under some kind of shelter, but it wasn't really sufficient. And she's like, this is not fair. Everyone was just walking past her. But her mind was completely out of control, and she was in a huge amount of distress. So anyway, try not to be overwhelmed by all of this suffering and unhappiness and pain and mental experiences. They're impermanent and they're changeable, and this is a great relief to know. So, we just have to work on our minds a little bit, deal with our own misconceptions, our negative energy, and eventually develop an idea or an understanding of the way things truly exist. So make a strong aspiration to do this yourself so you can help others be free of their suffering. So now imagine above the crown of your head, facing the same way as you, Chenrei Zig. And Chenrei Zig is the manifestation of pure, unobstructed compassion, love, and wisdom. And his body is beautiful, radiant, white light, transparent. So, what we have in front of us here is a tanka. It's painted. It's beautiful, but it's pretty solid looking. So you want something a little bit more ethereal above the crown of your head, almost like a hologram being projected. And really try for a moment to just feel the wisdom and healing and loving kindness and inspiration, and just sort of a sense of safety. Everything's going to be all right. His face is peaceful and smiling. He's radiating love to you and all those people of your life and all the beings around you. He's got 4 arms. The first 2 hands are held together at his heart and hold a jewel that fulfills all wishes. His second 2 hands are raised to the level of his shoulders. The right is holding a crystal rosary and the left a white lotus. He's sitting on a white moon disc upon an open lotus, and his legs are crossed in the full lotus posture, and he's wearing beautiful Indian, beautiful silks in the Royal Indian style and precious jewels all over his body. So try and hold your awareness of this image above the crown of your head. And if it's difficult, imagine a ball of white light healing, brilliant wisdom, compassion, energy. All the goodness and the wisdom, enlightened energy of the universe above the crown of your head. You can also imagine, if you have a teacher, this is the mind of your teacher, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And then we make a prayer from our heart to overcome our misconceptions and negative energy and to develop pure love and compassion for all beings equally. Oh, that's so tricky. And really feel that you're connecting with your own true nature, your own highest potential. So, of course, Chenrezig, being who he is, responds to your request and sends streams of white light filling every cell and atom of your body that purifies all your negativities and your problems, all your past harmful actions and all your potential to give harm in the future, and completely fills you with this light. And it just kind of eradicates all these negativities as you recite the mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Now imagine the light comes again and fills you with this limitless love, compassion, and your body feels light and blissful, and your mind peaceful and completely clear, and you feel grounded, solid. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme. And now the light from Chenrezig radiates out to every living being. So when it's still on the crown of your head, and purifies all their negative energy and fills them with bliss. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme. Imagine now Chenrezig dissolving into white light. This flows down through the crown of your head and comes to your heart chakra. And your mind and the mind of Chenrezig merge indistinguishably. The mind of your teacher. And you experience complete tranquility and bliss. And so hold this feeling as long as you can. Wherever this sense of I starts to arise, bored, restless, hungry, whatever, think that that is not your real self. And simply bring your attention again and again back to this experience of oneness with the qualities of Chenrezig, the mind of infinite love and infinite compassion. So not only towards others, but towards yourself as well. Everybody, let's just relax. We're almost at the end. So before we do any kind of dedication, I just want to find out how everyone's doing. Doing okay? So just, take what has been useful from this course, from these sessions that we've done together, and try and apply it to your own life, to your own meditation. Anything that wasn't useful, just didn't serve you at all, just let it go. And then all my very best wishes to each and every one of you on your path or your spiritual path. Hope to see you again. I will see a few of you, I know, but please, if any of you want to practice, come over to Tupta Noble Ling. There's a few things going on over there that I'm leading. And then we have this wonderful Lam Rim practice that we do on Monday evenings through Ocean of Compassion. So I don't know if you guys have time, but we're just going through the Lam Rim. It's this book called The Lam Rim Year that was edited by one of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's students. And it's very, it's interesting. Some of it's challenging to take in, and some of it's quite beautiful to listen to. So we do a combination of a meditation like the one we've just done, some 9-round breathing, and then we do a bit of analytical at the end. So yeah. Oh, there you go. There's Jay's just popped up a calendar. Thank you, Jay. But the Lam Rim is through Ocean of Compassion, which is where you are right now. So does anyone have any feedback they'd like to share, or anything they'd like to say?
I'm just going to volunteer. Obviously, over in Australia, I have found the classes at TNL really helpful, and they have them including there occasionally some on the weekend, on the evening, and recommended highly. Yep.
Thank you, Jay. So these are all FPMT centers. I mean, it's interesting that they're all sort of they're scattered all over the place. But anyway, so all the different different teachers kind of tend to sort of go around. Oh, Urs, thank you. So you might as well just advertise for your own center as well. Well done. Thanks for leading the charge there, Jay. And did you put up the link to the text so people can have a look at it if they want to? You can get the text from is it Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive or somewhere? I think it's free even, isn't it?
I think you're supposed to buy it, or maybe you can
You have to buy, I think, a donation. Anyway. So the idea of that particular text was that you would do one chapter, which is about a page and a half. Each day you do a different chapter and have something to reflect on about that, one of the Lamrim topics. But has everyone here done the Lamrim? Do you all know what I'm talking about? No. Oh, Gitu. Okay, start with the Vajrasattva and then maybe we can move on to that. Actually, we're moving away because right now we're looking at impermanence and death. But if you want to pop into the Ocean of Compassion, thanks, Kimberly. You're very welcome. Just try it out, see if it sits for you. But you know, the unfortunate thing, you're in California. Yeah, you are. It's at 6 o'clock at night, so you're probably going to be in the middle of either dinner or cooking dinner. So it's not an easy time for everyone. I understand that. So if you do get an opportunity to get a night where you're not doing one of those things, very welcome to come along. Yeah, and also anyone else too. It's also the same group that we've been doing. It's like almost 2 years, right, Urs? Yeah. So I mean, it's the same people. Again, I'm not sure how it keeps going, but it does. Anyway, so thank you all very much. Now we're at 3:33, so probably everyone wants to go. I appreciate you so very much coming along. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the creative energy that we've generated doing these 5 sessions to all these people of our lives and to our, as we move along our spiritual path to ourselves. And of course, think of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, make a strong wish for His Holiness to live long, for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So for those of you who don't know, he's the main teacher for this organization that both Thupten Noble Ling and Ocean of Compassion belong to. And then for any of your own personal teachers. So we all have different teachers dotted all over the world. So some of them aren't even Buddhist. So there you go. Some of them are our parents. Anyway, everybody, lots of love. Urs, thank you so much for hosting. I hope the weather improves where you are. We'll send you some sunshine from California.
I have sunshine here too.
Oh, you do? It's just minus 50 degrees. All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you so very much. Lots of love.
Thank you.
And I might
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I might see some of you this evening. Anyway, review the course, then you get a little bit extra. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Urs.
Venerable
Bye.
Katie.